This way shows the photons as waves, and means that the photon traveled by both paths as a wave, since if they traveled by only one path, then there would be no interference pattern.
We reach a conclusion that nothing has changed from experimental configuration to another experimental configuration. And since in the first case, the photon is said to decide to travel as a particle, and in the second case, it is said to decide to travel as a wave, Wheeler wanted to know whether experimentally a time could be determined at which the photon made a decision. So the question is, would it be possible to let a photon pass through the region of the first beam splitter while there was no beam splitter in the second position, thus causing it to decide to travel as a particle and then quickly let the second beam splitter pop up into its path? Would the particle behave as though the second beam splitter had always been there and hence would manifest the wave properties? And if it did manifest the wave effect, then the photon must have gone back in time and changed its decision about traveling as a particle to traveling as a wave. It was conclusively shown that indeed a photon could begin its life in an experimental configuration that would call for it to demonstrate its particle nature, but somehow end up in an experimental configuration that would call for it to demonstrate its wave nature. If the experiment begins with the second beam splitter in place, but it was removed while the photon was in flight, then the photon would indeed show up in the detector and does not show any sign of interference effects. That is, presence or absence of the second beam splitter would always determine the wave or particle representation of the photon.
In conclusion, for the photon to behave definitely as a particle, or definitely as a wave, it would require faster-than-light communication in order to change itself in the past, once it met with conditions that required it to be observed in its other form. Such as if the photon behaved as a particle once it entered the apparatus, and then once the second beam splitter was changed, it would need to tell itself in the past to act as a wave when it first entered the apparatus. Since this is in strong tension with the special theory of relativity, it should not be thought of as such. Instead, it is more widely accepted that it travels as both. Thank you for watching our video.